The disrespect is getting out of hand as the Rams again show up on another list and only have a couple of players ranked in the top 100 in the NFL. We are also discussing Matthew Stafford's legacy, all on today's episode of the Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Giron. Remember, if you guys are not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor. Press the subscribe button now, as roughly 68.7% of you guys are watching the videos, but you're still not subscribed to the channel. Do me the favor, press that subscribe button so you don't miss any daily Rams content here at the Rams Digest. First things first, we're discussing the Rams' consistent disrespect, if you ask me. I just personally think this kind of keeps happening. We just discussed this when we were talking about fantasy football just a couple episodes ago. Here we're talking about the Rams snubbed on this top 100 list. Not related to fantasy football, by the way. I know some of you guys weren't really big fantasy football fans out there, but this we're talking about just general rankings of NFL players. Puka Nacua being underranked at 54 was only the start of the problem. This comes to us from Kenneth Arthur, and ultimately we're discussing, yes, Puka Nacua, spoiler alert, is ranked the 54th best player in the NFL. That is 54 out of 100 for a guy who is arguably a top 5 to 10 receiver in the NFL. Production-wise, his rookie year was on pace to do something like that as well last year, dealing with injuries, of course, I understand, but I think we definitely have to have a conversation about where Puka is ranked, but also where other guys are ranked or maybe are not ranked in terms of the top 100 of the NFL. So here we're talking, we'll discuss little details right here. We'll pull up from the article. Puka Nacua is one of the top 50 players in the NFL today, if not top 20, but he was not ranked that high by Lou Scattaglia at NFL Spin Zone this week. In a ranking of the top 100 players, Puka Nacua checked in at number 56, which is at least 30 spots too low for the NFL's fourth leading receiver over the past 2 seasons in terms of yards per game. The explanation was given, no explanation given as to why Puka failed to make the top 50, sandwiched in between Christian Gonzalez and Xavier McKinney. Which team would rather have either of those players over Puka in any universe? And so I do want to give some credit to Christian Gonzalez. Xavier McKinney are both very good players, talented players in their own right. I hear what they're saying here with this article. Who would really pick either one of those guys over Puka Nacua? Especially because we've been seeing as Rams fans, we see Puka's production, how good he is as a player. We saw those playoff catches he made last year. I mean, ultimately, Puka is one of the best receivers in the NFL. And so I think that's kind of where the disrespect is kind of confusing. It's actually not really making me mad. I really don't really care in terms of rankings how people are ranking the Rams players, especially guys like Puka Nacua, who's a guy who definitely, if you ask him this question, I guarantee you, Puka would probably respond saying, I don't really care about rankings or what other people are saying, and rightfully so. I really think that's the kind of attitude any player should have, but especially we know that's what Puka would probably respond with, right? But in particular, I'm just kind of confused, right? When we're talking about a guy who's one of the top receivers in the NFL, how are you not going to rank him very highly? So I'm pulling up right now PFF's wide receiver rankings. I go through the top 32 of them. They have Puka Nacua listed. Actually, and I want to say this as well, by the way. They actually have Davante Adams. This is Pro Football Focus. I'm not saying their word is 100% fact at all times. But if you look at their list, they have Davante Adams ranked number 16th in the NFL in terms of all receivers, period. We scroll up a little bit. I'm assuming Puka's ahead of him. Yes, Puka Nacua is the 5th ranked best receiver according to PFF opinions, whatever, not a big deal. But you can't have the 5th ranked receiver as the 54th best player in the NFL. Guarantee you he is ranked below some names that are going to make you raise some eyebrows. Maybe it has something to do with being in the LA Rams, but because Jared Verse was only the only other player on the roster to make Scattaglia. Sorry, I'm pronouncing his name wrong. His top 100 with Verse ranking 54th. We're going to talk about that in a second as well. That means Matthew Stafford, Davante Adams, Kevin Dotson, Kyren Williams, and Braden Fisk all failed to make this top 100 list. So that obviously in its own right is definitely an issue to discuss. Are the Rams arguably one of the most disrespected teams in the NFL? I mean, that's kind of how I'm starting to feel about this situation, because ultimately the Rams on multiple levels seem to always be disrespected in this sense in terms of general rankings. The NFL just seems to not really care too much when it comes to the Los Angeles Rams. They're the one LA team, actually, that really seems to not get as much respect as the others. The Los Angeles Dodgers get their respect, especially now they've won 2 World Series in the last 5 years. You look at the Los Angeles Lakers, no need to discuss how many championships they have won in their history. Every decade, they are a relevant team with guys like LeBron and Kobe and Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right? Obviously, superstars go to LA to play. And I know the Los Angeles Rams have not been in Los Angeles for their entire franchise's history, and that may have a pretty big effect on how they are looked at in the LA sports world in general. But it's weird. Everyone seems to really heavily disrespect the Rams, generally speaking, as a franchise and their players. And that's kind of where I'm at with this topic of conversation. Again, we can discuss Stafford not being there. Maybe he's older, whatever you want to say. He's probably a top 10 to 15 quarterback. I would say top 10 probably, right? Even at 37 years of age. Davante Adams is still Davante Adams. Kevin Dotson, one of the best guards in the NFL. Kyren Williams, one of the best running backs production-wise in the NFL in the last few years. Braden Fisk as well, one of the best defenders. Maybe he's young, whatever it is. Not far off from Jared Verse. How is Jared Verse 54 and Fisk not on it? So Fisk not on it. So overall, very interesting to see this top 100 not include guys like, Adams and Stafford and those guys, but also to have Puka and Jared Verse ranked so low. Maybe Jared Verse you're mad about less because he is a young defensive talent, but overall, very confusing to see the disrespect that keeps getting thrown the Rams' way. Let me know how you guys feel about rankings in general. I know it doesn't really mean anything when it comes down to it. If the Rams win a Super Bowl, that's all that matters. But it's interesting to have these conversations right here in the offseason when not much else is going on right now with the team. Moving on from that, as I went on a huge tangent about that, we're talking about legacy here. We're talking about Matthew Stafford's legacy. A guy I just said he's not even in the top 100 ranking of players in an NFL ranked list. But overall, we're talking about a player who is arguably top 10 in the NFL still at his position. And a guy who in his career is one of the best quarterbacks of all time. Yet again, he gets disrespected. And we're talking about Stafford, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. This article actually paints it as, Matthew Stafford recently ranked in the top 30 of NFL quarterbacks of all time. It just made me think and made me kind of question, where does Matthew Stafford rank of all time? I want you guys to tell me how you guys feel. Maybe think about it. Maybe look up, Google some top 10, top 100, top 50 quarterbacks in NFL history, especially in the Super Bowl era. And let me know what you guys think about where Stafford might rank there, because in my personal opinion, I think he's getting a little disrespected with this list. Okay, so first of all, we're talking about a panel of voting that took place recently. The best quarterbacks of the Super Bowl era. 13 voters voted on this. These are all their names here. Don't want to go and throw any hate to them. I just want to acknowledge who's discussing this. We have NFL media people here. We have the 33rd team here, Underdog. We have Athlon Sports. We have NFL media. We have SB Nation, right? All around this list. Sports Illustrated as well. Some pretty big media, pretty big football minds coming together to discuss this conversation around Matthew Stafford, where he ranks all time. And we end up seeing Matthew Stafford did crack the top 30 all time. But is that too low? How do you guys feel about Stafford and his rankings? So there's no doubt Los Angeles Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. However, Jarrett Bailey of the Sporting News ranks Stafford as one of the best 30 quarterbacks in the National Football League history. For the longest time, Stafford was a Michelin star chef and a dive bar. His talents were evident throughout the entirety of his career, but his feet were stuck to the floor, known as the Detroit Lions as the late 2000s and 2010s. And despite the organization seemingly attempting to remain in perpetual turmoil, Stafford emerged as one of the best quarterbacks of his era. This is what Bailey is saying about him. And yes, ultimately, I agree with all of that. I think, yes, the Detroit Lions affected his career early. The lack of success, the lack of playoff success was a taint on his otherwise great NFL career. And so ultimately, that was a concern for him. We're talking about his legacy and what his legacy was going to be ultimately at the end of his career. Detroit was kind of holding him down a little bit, right? Gets traded to the Los Angeles Rams, wins the Super Bowl. All of a sudden, we are talking about Matthew Stafford looking at his stats and saying, okay, he has the Super Bowl ring now. Now can we talk about how good he is all time. And I still think 30 is too low. 30 might be too low in my opinion. So here he is, ranked number 30 on this list. A panel of 13 different guys talking about football, talking about the legends here, and laying it out right here with the numbers, okay? Highest ranking, some people had him ranked number 17 all time. Lowest ranking, some people in this panel had him not ranked at all, which is probably why he averaged out closer to the bottom of the list. And so here's Stafford career stats. Years active, 2008 to present. Obviously, the Detroit Lions for a majority of his career. Then, obviously, the Rams the last few years. 5,174 completions. That's 9th all-time. He is 10th all-time in passing yards. He's 10th all-time in passing touchdowns. Passer rating a little bit on the lower side, closer to that 30 ranking with the 26, tied for 26 all-time. And then fourth quarter comebacks, he is tied for 4th all-time. That is kind of, those numbers specifically are why I'm sitting here arguing, what are we talking about here? We're just discussing Matthew Stafford, where he ranks all time. 9th all time in completions, 10th all time in touchdowns and passing yards. 26 all time and passer rating. I get it. That's not great, I guess. But overall, 4th all time in comebacks. I think Matthew Stafford is one of the more underrated quarterbacks of all time, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. When we're talking about all-time legacy, I think, especially if the Rams can make one more push, at least to the another NFC title game or one more Super Bowl appearance, maybe even a Super Bowl ring, which is what we're all hoping for, I think it would solidify Matthew Stafford as a top 10 quarterback, maybe top 15 quarterback of all time. You guys let me know where you guys think Matthew Stafford could rank where it's all said and done. I think right now he's closer to the 15 all-time list, maybe that 15 to 20 range of all-time quarterbacks. And I think his numbers kind of speak for itself. 2-time Pro Bowl selection, 1-time Super Bowl champ, 2011 Comeback Player of the Year. You guys let me know what you guys feel about Stafford, his legacy, where he's going to rank all-time at the end of the day when it's all said and done. But that's where I have him, more in the 15 to 20 range as of now. One more ring probably can maybe sneak him into that top 15 to 10, maybe even higher than that conversation of quarterbacks all time. You guys let me know how you guys feel about that in the comment section down below. And last but not least, trivia of the day, my favorite part of the episode where I ask a trivia question. You give your trivia guesses down below in the comment section, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. We give you a shout out on the next episode that I'm on here at the Rams Digest. We had a few of you guys play along with the trivia of the day last episode. I appreciate you guys always for guessing. This one, I'll say right now, a little bit of a trick question on accident. Didn't really mean for it to be this much of a trick question. Thought it was valid. Think about it today, it was like maybe it's too much of a trick question. So you guys let me know how you feel about it. But what quarterback once threw 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a single game twice in their career? The multiple choice options, if you missed it, were A, Patrick Mahomes, B, Peyton Manning, C, Drew Brees, or D, Nick Foles. Very interesting, right? We have a lot of Hall of Fame guys on there, a lot of guys who have done some great things in their careers for a long time, and then Nick Foles, who had a great run with Philly, great Super Bowl run, great moments in his career, but very kind of interesting that he's a very big difference. I think that stands out, right, of those list of guys. So, what quarterback once threw for 7 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in a single game twice in their career? Before I give you the answer and why I think it was a little bit of a cheat code, I guess you will, you could say. This is the guesses we had on the last episode's trivia. Floyd says Mahomes. Thomas says Drew Brees. MM's Jr. says, I don't know the answer, but my favorite quarterback is Peyton Manning, so that's my guess. Although you make me wonder why you have 3 Hall of Famers, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and then a backup like Nick. Maybe it's him, question mark. Final answer, Peyton. Appreciate your analysis there, MM's Jr. And then we had Blake saying we're going to go with Drew Brees. Thank you for shouting out a blind guy go Rams. Of course, appreciate you, Blake. And then Mighty says probably Mahomes. He's the only I can remember doing at least once. Christian says Peyton Manning, and then Brian B says Drew Brees, I believe. A little bit of a spoiler here. Nobody got it correct. It was a trick question. Don't get mad at me for this one. I thought it would be fun to throw this in there. The correct answer, it was pretty obvious because he did stand out a little bit. It was Nick Foles was the correct answer. But if you think about it, some people are already right now freaking out like, well, no way Nick Foles did this twice in his career. Well, he did it once in the NFL. And then he did it once in high school. I did look it up for all these guys. First of all, Patrick Mahomes Never done it before in his career. 7 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He has never done this before. Peyton Manning did do it in the NFL, I believe, but did not do it in high school or college. Drew Brees, I think, as well did it. 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in the NFL. Never did it in college, never did it in high school. Nick Foles, the only quarterback to do it once in the NFL, but also once back in his high school days, doing it, throwing for like a perfect game almost, 158.3 passer rating in high school. Had more passing touchdowns than he did in completions that game. So a little bit of fun one, a little bit of trick one. Hope you guys don't kill me for that in the comment section. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Appreciate all of you guys for playing along with the trivia of the day. Even though you all got it wrong, I appreciate you guys for playing along, having fun with the trivia of the day every single time you do. If you missed out on this opportunity to get a shout out just like those folks and you want one in a future episode, go ahead and play along with today's trivia of the day. All you got to do is make a guess on a multiple choice question. I'll give you a shout out on the next episode, again, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. Today's trivia of the day is this question here. Which of these rule changes was made because of the Rams' greatest show on turf era? Was it A, the elimination of the tuck rule? Was it B, stricter enforcement of illegal contact by defenders? C, the introduction of the 2-point conversion? Or D, the implementation of the overtime coin toss rule? Which of the following NFL rule changes was made in response to the Rams' greatest show on turf era? Give your guess down below in the comment section, whether you're right, whether you're wrong. We give a shout out on the next episode. Again, which of the following NFL rule changes was made in response to the Rams' greatest show on turf era? Was it A, the elimination of the tuck rule, B, stricter enforcement of illegal contact by defenders, C, the introduction of the 2-point conversion, or D, the implementation of the overtime coin toss rule? Let me know your guesses down below in the comment section, whether you're right or whether you're wrong. Again, we'll give you a shout out on the next episode. Other than that, that's going to do it for me on today's episode of the Rams Digest. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. That's going to do it for me. I'm your host, Joshua Giron, and I am out.